What's your name? What's your name? It's such a simple question. I mean, it's one that we don't even think about, right? We just answer it. Like, why think? I mean, hello, is there any other answer? You know, simple question. Or is it? Just to make you think, does your name today have the same meaning that it did the day that you were born? Does it mean more? Does it contain more? Is it now synonymous with more than it was then? I mean, clearly the speaking of it and the thoughts that come to mind when it's heard are way different than it was the day you received it. What's your name? What does it mean? You know, some people were named after biblical characters. I am Jonathan, Prince son, of King Saul, and the beloved to none other than King David. And our parents choose names often on what the name means based on its origin. Jonathan means gift from God. But you see, those things and those thoughts certainly are not a reality because life has not yet been lived when we're given those things. No. They are simply the hopes and dreams of parents that our lives will shape into that wondrous meaning or into a greatness of biblical character. But in reality, who were you as a newborn? Who were you as a newborn? Who were you then? What were you to your parents when they first held you? You see, on that day, the only thing that you were was a beautiful, life-changing gift from God. You were named Miracle, born of the Lord of all creation. That's who you were. And there's such purity in that. There's such innocence in that. Knowing that above all else, your identity was at that point of and only of God. Entrusted to parents, but first and foremost of God. This is what God says about you in Scripture when you were created. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. I set you apart. I formed your inward parts. Oh, I carefully knitted you together in your mother's womb, and you are wonderfully made by my hands. Everything that I do and create, including you, is wonderful, and your soul knows it very well. Your body, it was not hidden from me when I made you in secret. I intricately weaved you in the depths. I saw every part of your unformed substance, every part. And then I wrote your name in my book. I made you to serve me in my glory. My child, for you are honored in my eyes. That's what God says about you. That God says about all of us when He created us. He says, and all that's from Jeremiah, it's Psalm, it's from Isaiah, that you are wonderfully made and honored in His eyes. That's your identity. That's your birthright. But oh, how quickly that identity gets muddled up in this life. Soon your identity, it's the race cars on the nursery wall, the funny face you make when you eat asparagus, the Spider-Man lunchbox with your name on it, your report cards, your aptitude scores, college degree, job choice. You become synonymous, with your hobbies, your family, your crazy or sane spouses along the way. I've had a few. And the personality traits that you have wrap it all up into this big complex bow. So what's your name again? Is it the secret words spoken to you in the womb? Whispered to you by a God who honors and marvels at your existence? Is that your name? Or is it all that other junk? Does your soul know now how wonderful you are in God's eyes as well as it once did? Or have so, many things and emotions and heartbreaks overshadowed it all? Have you become the sum of your hurts? The sum of your achievements? the sum of things that are of this world. There's a legion of influences that come upon us, leading us to be lost within ourselves, confusing you to the real you. So that whenever we say, what's your name? Who are you? The answer sometimes is, gosh, I don't exactly know anymore. I don't know anymore. Am I my doubts? Am I my insecurities? Am I my failures? Am I a child of Christ? Think about not what your name is, but the name that you have made for yourself. I am the honor student. I am the hotel manager. I am the shameful addict. I am the liar that covered it. I am the broken one, battered by loss. I am the redeemed. I am caregiver. I am loving partner. I am pastor. I am part of the great I am. How has the name that you've made for yourself changed over the years? What does your name mean now? Mostly, we are in charge of what our name becomes, how we are seen. We become known for the legacy in which we leave and how we touch people. But not always. Sometimes our identity is pressed upon us from a community at large. Sometimes churches will impress things upon us by standards that are impossible to meet. And they label us sometimes by their standards, not by God's standards. Sometimes, for example, if your identity comes to include gay or lesbian or transgender or someone who supports such abomination, that barrage of voices can rage, denigrating your existence and driving you into those places of despair and loneliness and hurt. You see, sometimes, no matter how good a life you live, you are given unjustly a bad name. Why does the world do this? How do we change the community and the world? How do we free ourselves? How do we restore our identity? How can we remember what our name is without the world's crushing imprint upon it? What's your name? What's our name? And are they linked? Today we are continuing to walk through the book of Luke. And chapter 8, oh my gosh, it is a whirlwind of teaching and preaching and miracle working. And today's story, it is busting at the seams with all of these things. So, Jesus has just finished, he's teaching these large crowds. And when the sun goes down, he says to his disciples, hey y'all, let's go across the lake over there. Now, this lake would be the Sea of Galilee. And it's about, at its widest point, about 7 miles wide. And so as they journey, this is the very familiar scripture of when the storm rages upon them in the night and the waves crash upon their boats. And the night storm, it frightens them. Jesus awakes and he raises his hand and he rebukes the wind. He rebukes the raging sea. And for the rest of the night, the disciples are quiet. Who is this man that even the wind and water obey him? Who is this teacher? They're about to know more. The next morning arrives, the sun comes up and it kisses the earth. And the bow of their boat, it slides onto the eastern shore. And that brings us to today's gospel. Together with Jesus, the disciples, they set foot into the region of Gerasenes, which is opposite from Galilee, opposite the lake. And it's somewhat kind of a barren country, and it's under the control of King Herod Antipas. And it's not Jewish country, but it's Gentile country. And this is the only time in the book of Luke that Jesus deliberately goes into Gentile territory. And it really underscores, his mission and our commission to spread his kingdom to all people and to all nations of the earth. In essence, to show them their true identity in him. But as soon as Jesus steps offshore, all of a sudden a wild man, buck naked, hands and feet chained, he comes running towards him and he's screaming at the top of his lungs. Kind of sounds like some parties I used to go to. But really, what an odd welcoming committee. What a very, very odd welcoming committee. The discipleship, I can imagine the disciples as they're there and they're like, with this discipleship, it sure is shaping up into some weird stuff, they must have thought. Whew, raging storms, naked crazies, mountain sermons, demons, beheadings. What could be next? Hey, Peter, did you ever miss those simple days of fishing? So there they are. They're with this naked, crazy man, clearly, who is in great need. He is in every way considered unclean by his town people. He is possessed. He is driven by demonic forces. The man is scarcely human anymore. And he certainly isn't considered so by his community. He lives in the tombs, it says. The graveyard, we could say, he lives. But where else could he go, really? He's naked. He's unpredictable. He's violent, chained, outcast, distressed, alone. He is a Gentile. And the fact that they are opposite Galilee in the story tells us how Jesus always steps out into what and who is considered opposite in society. When the man sees Jesus, he runs. Chained feet and all, he runs and he cries out and he falls at Jesus' feet and he begins to scream as loud as he can. What do you want to do to me, Jesus Christ, Lord of the Most High? Please, please do not torture me. I beg you. Kind of hurt has he gone through, but Jesus recognizes that there is an impure spirit in him. And Jesus, he says, command, leave this man's spirit. And he begins to seize over and over as Jesus commands and commands. You see, this is the kind of Lord that we serve. Jesus does not give up on us, just like he did not give up on this man. And praise God that he doesn't. He will keep offering his mighty grace and his power as many times as it takes to free us and to save us. He keeps coming back, even when we don't. You see, the town of Gerasenes sees just a naked, crazy man doomed to this life of solitude. That's what they see. But Jesus looks at this man and sees a loving child. Jesus says, that's one of mine. This is a soul in need, a man worth my time, a man worth saving, a man that yearns to be free. That's what I see, says the Lord. When he quits seizing, Jesus, standing as still as the waters he calmed the night before, he looks into the man's eyes and he says, what's your name? What's your name? And like us, it's clearly not a simple answer. What do you think that meant to the man? After years and years of sorrow and loneliness, chains, no one caring, feeling unsavable, void of any meaningful human contact. What did it mean to have Jesus look him in the eye and instead of seeing someone dirty and condemned, to see someone who is valuable and worth saving? What did that mean to him? What's your name? Sometimes in our existence, we can relate to how this man is feeling. How many times has life led you to this place of hopelessness? When you felt like everyone was against you, that there was nothing you could do to free yourself from the misery. Have you been lost? Have you been afraid? Have you been lonely? And what did it mean the first time that Jesus spoke to you or you spoke to him? That someone from this church said, welcome. What's your name? That feeling, that love is part of an amazing grace that just can't be put into words. Trust me, I try every week. It's a hard thing to define. Even at Bible study when we talked about it, it's not a simple answer, and you can't ever quite put your words right with it. It's amazing. So Jesus says, what's your name? And the man says, Legion. which means a multitude. He says, legion, because I have so many impure spirits in me. It was the demons of the day, the impure spirit that's in him. He starts to beg Jesus. He says over and over, please, 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 please don't send me into the abyss. I know you have power. Instead, banish me into the pigs, the herd of pigs that's over there. And so Jesus, not willing to give up on this man, he casts them out and he casts them into the pigs. And then the herd of pigs, they squeal, and every last one of them, they gallop into the Sea of Galilee and they drowned along with the evil spirits. It's good stories in the Bible, isn't there? You can't make this stuff up. But you see, according to the Middle Eastern demology, even evil spirits, they could not survive in water. And it's such an astounding scene. I mean, I told you it was full of action. It's full of miracles. I mean, this dramatic visual exorcism of the stampede of pigs into the sea is a vivid demonstration of Jesus' victory over everything evil. Yeah, Peter, without a doubt. Simple days of fishing are gone. But we're fishing for men now. And I see that. The pigs' owners and the tenders see this astounding event, and they run like lightning. They run into town. They say, you won't believe what I saw. You really won't. And all the townspeople, they run to see what he's talking about. And what they see blows their mind. This man that was inhabited by all this evil, this man that they've avoided for so many years, there he is. And he's just sitting there, dressed in his right mind, shining with goodness, and sitting at Jesus' feet calmly, being still, knowing that he is God. It's absolute miracle. Now, what would your reaction be seeing this? What would you expect it to be for those there? Well, let me tell you, it's not one of, oh, hallelujah, God's name be praised at this. No. Verse 37. Then all the people of the region of Gerasenes asked Jesus to leave them because they were overcome with fear. So Jesus, really? So Jesus gets in the boat and he leaves. The sad fact is that they act out of fear rather than wonder. I mean, the Savior who has come to save them is on their own soil for once in his life. And they say, get out. And how ironic is it that the legion of demons accepted Jesus' authority whenever the people, his own children, did not? The truth is that sometimes in this world we prefer the devil we know to the freedom we do not. What is clear in this passage is that sometimes the salvation of some leads to hostility in others. We know that story all too well here at MCCC, don't we? How many people are enraged that we baptize people that they've rejected? How many people rant when we officiate wedding ceremonies that they will not? How many people burn because we claim and offer salvation to all people? You guys, something astounding and really, truly amazing happened this week. Exodus, which is the group that for over 40 years has been the leader in curing people of their gay or helping them to be celibate, has shut down. Shut down. But wait, it's not that they went into bankruptcy. There's more. It's astounding. The president, on behalf of the board of directors of Exodus, said this. Please know that I am deeply sorry. And this could be written to us specifically. There's been people who've come through these doors who have been a part of those groups. They say, please know that I am deeply sorry to the gay and lesbian community. I am sorry for the pain and hurt many of you have experienced. I am sorry some of you spent years working through the shame and guilt you felt when your attractions didn't change. I am sorry we promoted sexual orientation change efforts and reparative theories about sexual orientation that stigmatized parents. I'm sorry that there were times when we didn't stand up to people publicly on our side who called you names like sodomite or worse. I am sorry that I, knowing some of you so well, failed to share publicly that the gay and lesbian people I know were every bit as capable of being amazing parents as the straight people that I know. I'm sorry that when I celebrated a person coming to Christ and surrendering their sexuality to Him, that I callously celebrated the end of relationships that broke your heart. I am sorry that I have said that you and your families are less than me and mine. More than anything, I am sorry that so many interpreted the religious rejection of Christian as God's rejection. I am profoundly sorry that many have walked away from their faith, and some have chosen to end their lives. For the rest of my life, I will proclaim nothing but the whole truth of the gospel, one of grace, one of mercy, and one of invitation to all. Wow. Raise your hand if you saw that coming. Wow. I mean, it's profound, it's stunning, it's overdue. And gosh, the whole time I'm like, God is working, God is working. And I cried when I read it. It was powerful. And what's clear about this passage, which also rings true for us, is that community change is far more difficult than individual change. I mean, how do you change a family? A city? A state? A world? Oh, how? Of course, our gospel always will provide us, the answers that we need. And so Jesus, he's asked to leave, and as he was getting into the boat, the freedman, he runs to the shore and he's shouting, wait, take me, please. You can't leave me here. Take me with you. And Jesus says, no, stay here. Go home. Leave the tombs, go home, and tell everyone you know what God has done for you. Awesome. What happened to Jesus' words? Follow me. Sure you don't want me to pick up my nets? No? Okay. You see, when we think about changing our world, our Gerasenes, we must understand that like the man, Jesus is bequeathing us with the responsibility and the authority to change our community. And that happens by us first changing, and then by us being bold enough to follow the same command that he gave the man. Go and tell. Go home and go tell. Perhaps what is needed is not necessarily the power of Jesus, but the living testimony of the one who has been healed and restored. I mean, think about it. Like, if he had left with Jesus, I mean, how easy would it have been for his neighbors to revert back to the status quo? I mean, would the community be changed? You see, our communal healing is inextricably connected to the telling of your individual restoration. The good news of the gospel today is this. Life, it can be confusing, and identity can be so misunderstood. There are a legion of things that make you feel lost, unlike yourself, that causes you to drift from the person that you are. There are also a legion of voices of people trying to tear you down. People you know and people you don't know. They're trying to make you believe that you are something that you are not. And like the man in today's story, perhaps now, more than ever, you too need your identity restored, remembering that the names and the claims that the voices of this world shout at you do not have the last word. Romans 8:17 tells us, now, if we are children, then we are heirs, heirs of God, co-heirs with Christ. We suffer with him so that we may share glory with him. And what I want you to know today is this, and these aren't my words, these are scriptural declarations for you to bury in your heart right now. You are a child of God. You were chosen by God, formed exactly the way you are. He knew those parts. You are wonderfully made, and you are honored in His eyes. And you are holy and dearly loved. So who are you? What's your name? Your name is child of God. And don't you forget.